She was just a tired janitor working nights to give her son a better life. He was a silent prince hiding in the shadows of the old academy. When her song broke his 100-year silence, the vampire king started to watch. The mop hit the floor with a wet slap, and Mara's shoulders screamed in protest. 11 p.m. 3 more classrooms to go. She paused in the dim hallway of Ravenhall Academy, wiping sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. Through the tall Gothic windows, fog rolled across the courtyard like something alive. This place always felt wrong at night. Too quiet, too old, like the walls were holding secrets they'd never tell. But the pay was good, better than good. The night shift bonus meant Eli could stay enrolled here, could eat lunch with kids whose parents drove cars that cost more than her entire apartment building. Worth it, she told herself. Always worth it. Mom. Mara turned. Eli stood at the end of the hallway, his backpack hanging off one shoulder, his dark curls messy from sleep. He'd been waiting in the library again, probably fallen asleep over his math homework. Hey, baby. Almost done. Go wait by the music room, okay? I just need to clean it and we can go home. Eli yawned and nodded, shuffling down the corridor in his worn sneakers. Good kid. Never complained, even when she dragged him here night after night because babysitters cost too much and his grandmother lived 3 states away. Mara grabbed her cleaning cart and followed him, her keys jingling at her hip. The music room sat at the far end of the West Wing, where even the teachers rarely went. It had been condemned years ago, something about structural damage, but administration kept changing their minds about demolishing it. For now, it just collected dust and memories. She pushed open the heavy door. It groaned like something wounded. Moonlight streamed through holes in the velvet curtains, illuminating a grand piano in the center of the room. Sheet music lay scattered across the floor, yellowed and brittle. The air smelled like old wood and something else, something sweet and wrong, like flowers left too long in a vase. Sit here, Eli. Mara pointed to a chair near the door, the safest-looking spot. Don't touch anything, okay? Okay. He pulled out a crumpled drawing from his backpack and started adding details with a stubby pencil. Mara began sweeping, her movements automatic after months of the same routine. Dust swirled in the moonbeams. The silence felt thick, like it had weight. To break it, she hummed. It was an old lullaby, one her mother used to sing when Mara was small and scared of the dark. The melody drifted through the abandoned room, soft and sad and warm all at once. She didn't notice when Eli looked up sharply. She didn't see the shadow behind the piano shift. But she heard it when someone whispered. Don't stop. Mara froze, broom handle clenched tight. The voice was male, young, and so hoarse it sounded like sandpaper on glass. Like someone who hadn't spoken in years. Hello. Her heart hammered. Is someone there? Silence. Then, slowly, a figure emerged from behind the piano.
A boy.
17, maybe 18. Pale, impossibly pale, like he'd never seen sunlight. His clothes were strange. A white shirt with an old-fashioned collar, dark pants that looked hand-tailored, like something from a costume drama. His hair was silver-white and fell past his shoulders. But it was his eyes that made Mara's breath catch. They glowed, just faintly, a soft, crimson red. Who are you? She managed. How did you get in here? The boy stared at her, then at Eli, who had gone very still. His lips moved, forming words, but no sound came out at first. He tried again, harder, his brow furrowing with concentration. Sing, he whispered finally, the word barely audible. Please. There was something desperately lonely in his face. Mara should have run, should have grabbed Eli and called security. But something held her there, maybe the look in those strange eyes, or the way he stood so carefully like he was afraid he might break something just by existing. Are you a student here? She asked gently. He shook his head slowly. Are you lost? He considered this, then nodded.
Yes, lost.
Eli stood up, clutching his drawing. Mom, he's sad. I know, baby. Stay back. But the boy wasn't moving toward them. If anything, he seemed to be trying to make himself smaller, less threatening. His hands trembled slightly at his sides. What's your name? Mara asked. His mouth moved again. This time the whisper was clearer, stronger.
Aiden.
Aiden, she tested the name.
I'm Mara. This is my son, Eli.
You need help. Aiden's eyes flickered to the window, where the moon hung fat and yellow, then back to her. He nodded once.
Okay,
we can. Mara started, but a sound from the hallway made her turn. Footsteps. Heavy ones.
Security.
When she looked back, Aiden was gone. Just
gone.
Like he'd never been there at all. Mom.
Eli whispered.
Where'd he go? Mara stared at the empty space behind the piano, her pulse racing. The shadows there seemed darker than they should be, like they were hiding something. Or someone. The security guard's flashlight beams swept through the doorway. Everything all right, Miss Chin? Thought I heard voices. Yes.
Just me and Eli.
We're almost done. The guard grunted and moved on, his footsteps fading down the hall. Mara stood there in the moonlit room, her lullaby still echoing in her head. She looked down at Eli's drawing, the one he'd been working on. Her blood went cold. It showed a boy sitting at a piano. Silver hair, sad eyes, and behind him, barely sketched but unmistakable, a tall figure in the shadows, watching. Eli had drawn it before they even entered the room. Baby, Mara's voice shook. What is this? Eli looked at the picture, then at her, confusion in his dark eyes. I don't know. I just felt like I should draw it. Far away, in a place where mirrors lined walls like windows and moonlight never faded, a man opened his eyes. He sat on a throne of silver and bone, and when he smiled, it was the smile of something ancient recognizing something new. On the mirror before him, he watched a woman and a boy leave a music room, the woman glancing back once, twice, as if feeling his gaze across impossible distance. So, the vampire king murmured, his voice like silk over steel. It begins. He touched the mirror's surface, and the image rippled. After 100 years of silence, his son had whispered. After 100 years of searching, he'd found her, the one with a voice that could break the oldest of curses. And the king would make certain nothing interrupted what came next. Mara didn't sleep that night. She lay in their cramped apartment, staring at the water stain on the ceiling, replaying everything. The whisper, those glowing eyes, the way Aiden had vanished like smoke. And Eli's drawing, that impossible drawing. By morning, she'd convinced herself it was exhaustion. A trick of shadows and moonlight. Maybe some rich kid playing a prank, using those colored contact lenses that were popular now. But when she dropped Eli at school and headed to her day job at the diner, her hands still shook when she poured coffee. You look terrible, her coworker Rita said, not unkindly. Rough night. Those academy shifts are killing you, Han. Why don't you? I need the money. Mara's tone made it clear the conversation was over. That evening, she almost called in sick. Almost. But rent was due in a week and Eli needed new shoes and the washing machine was making that sound again. So she packed their dinner, picked up Eli from after-school care, and headed back to Ravenhall Academy as fog rolled in from the woods. Can we go to the music room again? Eli asked in the car. Mara's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel.
Why?
I want to see if he's there.
Ellie. He's not bad, Mom.
He's just lonely. Eli pressed his face against the window. Really, really lonely. Something in his voice made Mara's chest tight. She knew that feeling. She'd been lonely too once. Still was most days. We'll see, she said quietly. She avoided the music room for the first 2 hours. Cleaned the classrooms, the bathrooms, the administrative offices. But at 10 p.m., she found herself standing outside that heavy door, her hand on the handle. Eli waited behind her, patient and silent. If anyone's in there, Mara called out. I'm coming in. I have pepper spray. She didn't, but it sounded good. The door opened. The room looked exactly the same. Dust, moonlight, abandoned piano. Empty. Mara exhaled.
See?
Nobody. Hello, Mara. She spun. Aiden sat on the piano bench, hands folded in his lap, like he'd been there all along. In the better light, she could see details she'd missed before. His skin wasn't just pale, it was translucent, blue veins visible at his temples. His fingernails were too long, too sharp. And those eyes, definitely glowing. How did you? I just looked. I'm fast. His voice was still hoarse, but stronger than last night. Each word seemed to cost him effort. When I want to be. Eli stepped forward.
I'm Millie.
I know. Aiden's expression softened. You drew me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because I dreamed of you. And you. Heard. Mara moved between them instinctively. Okay, that's enough. Aiden, I don't know what's going on, but you can't just. I won't hurt you. He stood slowly, hands raised. I can't. Even if I wanted to, he touched his throat. The silence. It's breaking. Because of you. What's silence? What are you talking about? Aiden walked to the window, his movements too smooth, too graceful. Not human. I haven't spoken in 100 years.
Couldn't.
The words were locked inside. He turned back, and in the moonlight, his face looked ancient despite its youth. But you sang. And something opened. Mara's mind raced.
Drugs.
This kid was on drugs. Had to be. Listen, you need help. Real help. I can call someone. I'm dead, Mara. The words hung in the air.
Or.
Not alive. Not like you. Aiden's smile was sad.
I'm sorry.
I know how it sounds. You're crazy, Mara whispered, but her voice lacked conviction. Am I? He moved faster than sight, one moment by the window, the next standing inches from her. She hadn't seen him cross the space between. Can crazy do this? Mara stumbled back, heart racing. Don't scare her, Eli said sharply. Aiden immediately retreated.
I'm sorry.
I'm not good at this. At people, he sat back down at the piano, looking suddenly young and lost. I just wanted to hear the song again. It's been so long since I've heard anything beautiful. Against every instinct, Mara felt her fear shift to something else. Pity, maybe, or recognition, of someone as lonely as she'd once been. The lullaby, she asked quietly. He nodded. She should leave. Should grab Eli and run, and never come back to this room. Instead, she started humming. The melody filled the space, soft and warm. Aiden closed his eyes, and for a moment, he looked peaceful, almost human. Then he began to whisper the words along with her, his voice growing clearer with each line. In a realm of mirrors and shadow, the vampire king leaned forward on his throne, watching intently. Clever, my son, he murmured. Show her your truth slowly. Let her choose to stay. He gestured, and 3 shadows peeled from the walls, his familiars, creatures of smoke and fong. Guard them, he commanded. The woman and her child. Nothing touches them. Nothing frightens them. They must feel safe. The shadows bowed and vanished. The king returned his gaze to the mirror, watching Mara sing to his son. Yes, he said softly. She's the one. The Vampire King's chamber existed between heartbeats and shadows, a place where time moved differently, where mirrors showed not reflections but truths. He stood before the largest mirror, taller than 3 men, its frame carved from bone and moonstone. Inside it, he watched Mara tuck Eli into the back seat of her aging Toyota, watched her glance back at Ravenhall Academy with confusion written across her tired face. She doesn't understand yet, he said to the empty room. But she will. He traced a finger along the mirror's edge, and the image shifted, rewinding through hours, days, years. He watched Mara working double shifts, watched her cry in the shower where Eli couldn't hear, watched her smile anyway when her son needed her to. Strength wrapped in softness. Kindness, without expectation of reward. Exactly what his son needed. The king remembered the day he'd sealed Aiden's voice 3 centuries ago. His son had been young then, barely 70 years turned, and his power had been wild, dangerous. One word from Aiden could shatter minds, could bend wills, could make humans worship or destroy themselves. So the king had done what love demanded. He'd locked the voice away, sealed it with ancient magic, and told himself it was temporary. 100 years later, the seal remained. Until last night. "Show me," the king commanded. The mirror rippled. He saw Mara enter the music room, saw her hum that simple lullaby, and watched the seal crack. Just slightly. Just enough for one hoarse whisper to escape. The king smiled. Magic responded to power, to blood, to sacrifice. But the oldest magic, the deepest kind, responded only to truth. And this woman's song carried no deception.
No Hidden Agenda.
Just memory and love, and the ache of missing someone gone.
Pure.
Untainted. The exact frequency needed to break his spell. "Father?" The king turned. A woman stepped from the shadows, tall, elegant, with eyes like black diamonds. His advisor, Nadira, who'd served his family for 5 centuries. "The boy has been seen," she said. "Twice now. The woman knows something is wrong." "Good." Nadira's expression didn't change, but he felt her disapproval. "You risk exposure." The council can wait." The king's voice hardened. "My son has been silent for 100 years. If this human woman can free him, I will not interfere. And if she rejects him, humans fear what they don't understand. Then we'll know she wasn't the one." But the king's eyes returned to the mirror, to Mara's face. "But I don't think she will. Look at her, Nadira. Really look." The advisor stepped closer. In the mirror, Mara was helping Eli with his homework at their kitchen table, her expression patient despite her exhaustion. "She's already chosen him once," the king said softly. "Last night, when she stayed instead of running. When she sang again, knowing something was wrong but doing it anyway." He touched the mirror. "She has the rarest gift. She sees pain before danger." "You're being sentimental." "I'm being a father." Nadira bowed, knowing when an argument was lost. "What would you have me do?" "Watch them. Protect them. And ensure the boy's transition stays gentle." The king's expression darkened. "There are others who would use this opportunity, who remember what Aiden was before the seal. The Nightborn.
Yes. They wanted him as a weapon then.
They'll want him as one now." The king's hand formed a fist. "Station guards around the academy. If any of them approach the woman or her child, you have my permission to end them." Nadira smiled, a cold, sharp thing. "With pleasure, my lord." She vanished like smoke. Miles away, in Mara's apartment, Eli couldn't sleep. He lay in his small bed, staring at his drawing of Aiden pinned to the wall. As he watched, the shadows around the edges of the paper seemed to move, seemed to breathe. "He's lonely," a voice whispered in his mind. "Not scary, just
there."
Like remembering someone else's memory. "He's been quiet so long he forgot how to be loud."
"He needs help."
Eli sat up. "Who are you?" No answer. But in the corner of his room, the shadows grew darker, denser. Not threatening, more like a large dog standing guard. The boy didn't feel afraid. Instead, he felt protected. He picked up his pencil and started drawing again. This time, without knowing why, he drew a tall man on a throne, wearing a crown that looked like twisted branches. The man's eyes were sad. That's his dad, Eli thought. And he misses him too. In the living room, Mara sat at the kitchen table, her laptop open to a search engine. Her fingers hovered over the keys. She typed, "Ravenhall Academy History Strange Deaths." Then deleted it. Typed, "Albinism red eyes glowing." Deleted it. Finally, she typed what she really wanted to know. Is it possible to help someone who isn't human? The search results loaded, full of fantasy stories and conspiracy theories. Mara closed the laptop and put her head in her hands. In his mirror, the vampire king watched her struggle with belief and disbelief, hope and fear. "Take your time," he whispered, though she couldn't hear.
But not too long, Mara.
"My son has waited a century. Your turn to be brave now." 3 days passed before the storm came. Mara had avoided the music room, making excuses to clean other wings of the academy. She told herself it was practical. Those classrooms needed attention too. But really, she was scared. Scared of what Aiden was. Scared of what it meant that Eli kept drawing him, kept whispering about dreams where a sad boy asked for help. Scared of the way her own heart ached when she remembered those ancient eyes. But Thursday night, the universe made the choice for her. The storm rolled in at 9 p.m., fast and furious. Rain hammered the academy's Gothic windows like fists demanding entry. Thunder shook the old building's bones. Mara finished the administration wing early, anxiety prickling her skin. The buses would stop running soon. She needed to get Eli home before. Her phone buzzed. The transit app flashed red, Route 47 suspended due to flooding. No. Mara rushed to the main entrance, Eli hurrying beside her. Through the glass doors, she could see water streaming across the courtyard, the street beyond already ankle-deep. "Mom," Eli's voice was small. "It's okay. We'll wait it out in the chapel. It's got that covered entrance." She grabbed their jackets. "Come on." They ran through the rain anyway, arriving at the old stone chapel soaked and shivering. The covered archway offered shelter, but barely. Wind drove the rain sideways, misting them with cold spray. Mara pulled Eli close, rubbing his arms to warm him. "The weather app says it'll pass in an hour."
"I'm okay, Mom."
But he wasn't. His lips were turning blue. She was about to say they'd risk running back inside when she saw him. Aiden stood at the far end of the archway, perfectly dry despite the downpour raging inches away. He held something in his pale hands, her keychain, the one with Eli's baby picture in it that she'd lost somewhere days ago. "You dropped this," Aiden said. His voice was clearer now, almost natural. "The first night, behind the piano." Mara stared. "How did you? You've been carrying it for 3 days." "I didn't know how else to return it." "I can't go far." "Not yet." He stepped closer, moving with that impossible grace. Water droplets on the stone evaporated where his feet had been. "I didn't mean to frighten you. That night. Or to make you avoid me." "I wasn't." Mara stopped. Lying seemed pointless.
"Okay, yes.
"I was scared." "You should be." Aiden handed her the keychain, careful not to touch her skin. "I'm not safe." "Not completely. The seal is breaking, but it's not predictable. Sometimes I lose time. Wake up in places I don't remember going." His glowing eyes found Eli. "But I'd never hurt him. Or you. I'd rather stay silent forever." Lightning split the sky, and in that flash of white light, Mara saw something that stopped her heart. A shadow. Massive. Behind Aiden, cast by no visible source, the outline of a man, tall and regal, wearing something that looked like a crown. The shadow reached out, and though Aiden didn't react, Mara felt something shift in the air around them. Warmth where there should be cold. Safety where there should be danger. Thunder crashed, and the shadow was gone. "Did you see that?" Mara whispered. "See what?" Eli asked. But Aiden's expression changed. Just for a moment, surprise flickered across his ancient face. He turned, looking behind him at nothing, and whispered, "Father?" The word was so soft Mara almost missed it. "Your father?" she asked. "Is he like you?" Aiden turned back, and something in his eyes looked vulnerable, young. "He's the reason I'm silent. And he's watching. Always watching." He paused. "To protect me."
"And now?"
"To protect you." "From what?" "From those who'd use me as a weapon. From those who'd hurt anyone I care about to control me." Aiden looked at his hands. When I could speak, before the seal, my voice could make people do things. Terrible things. My father locked it away to save me from myself. And from others. Mara processed this, her mind reeling. So the lullaby. It's breaking the seal?
Yes, but safely.
Slowly, Aiden's smile was hesitant, hopeful. With you, I'm learning to speak again without the power.
Just.
Words. Human words. It's your heart. It makes the difference. Eli stepped forward, pulling something from his pocket. A drawing, folded and wrinkled. He held it out to Aiden. I made this for you. So you remember you're not alone. Aiden took it with trembling fingers. He unfolded it carefully. The drawing showed 3 figures, a woman, a boy, and a silver-haired teenager, standing together under stars. For the first time, Mara saw tears in those crimson eyes. Thank you, Aiden whispered. Thank you. The rain began to ease. In a puddle at their feet, the water's surface rippled though no wind touched it. For just a second, Mara saw that shadow again, the tall figure, watching. And somehow, she knew he was smiling. She felt no fear, only the strange, impossible certainty that something powerful wanted them safe. Come on, Mara said, making a decision she didn't fully understand. Walk back with us. You shouldn't be alone in the storm. I'm never alone, Aiden said softly, glancing at the puddle. Not anymore. But he walked with them anyway, and for the first time in 100 years, the mute vampire prince felt something he'd forgotten. He felt wanted. The next week brought changes, so subtle Mara almost didn't notice them at first. Aiden started appearing at odd hours, not just at night. She'd glimpse him in the library's darkest corner at dawn, hidden behind philosophy books, his finger tracing words like he was learning a new language. At dusk, she'd spot him by the fountain in the courtyard, watching birds with fascinated intensity, as if he'd never seen anything so alive. He was changing, growing, becoming more human with each passing day. And Eli was teaching him how. You have to laugh from your belly, Eli explained one evening, demonstrating with a ridiculous giggle that made even Mara smile. They were in the music room. It had become their place now, a strange sanctuary where impossible things felt normal. Aiden tried. The sound that came out was rusty, unpracticed, but genuine. Like this. Better. Now try telling a joke. I don't know any jokes. Mom knows lots. Mom, tell him the one about the vampire who went to the dentist. Mara looked up from wiping down the piano. Really? A vampire joke? Aiden's eyes sparkled with humor, something she'd never seen before. I want to hear it. She couldn't help but smile. Okay. Why did the vampire go to the dentist? Why? Aiden leaned forward, genuinely curious. He wanted to improve his bite.
Silence.
Then Eli burst out laughing, and Aiden joined him, that rusty, beautiful sound getting smoother each time. Watching them, Mara felt something warm bloom in her chest. Something dangerous. She was getting attached. On Saturday, Mara's day off, she made a decision. She took the bus downtown to the old thrift market, the one with a used bookstore that sold sheet music in musty boxes for $1 each.
She didn't know why.
Aiden didn't need anything from her. He was already dead, already cursed, already beyond her ability to fix. But she couldn't shake the image of him at the piano, his fingers hesitant on the keys, trying to remember melodies from centuries ago. The market smelled like old paper and rain. Mara dug through boxes, finding Chopin and Beethoven, some jazz standards, a few contemporary pieces. She bought $20 worth, half her grocery budget, but she didn't let herself think about that. Behind her, hidden by shelves and shadow, something watched. Not Aiden. Something else. The king's familiar, a creature of smoke given semi-solid form, followed 3 steps behind, silent as thought. It had watched her all day, dropping Eli at his friend's house, taking the bus alone, counting coins at the market entrance. The creature saw no threat in her. Only determination. Only love expressed through small sacrifices. It saw her check her phone twice, saw her hesitate at the checkout, saw her choose the music over a new pair of gloves though her current ones had holes. The familiar memorized everything and would report it all. The king valued these details, the tiny ways humans showed their hearts. That night, Mara returned to the academy, even though she wasn't scheduled. She told herself it was just to drop off the music, nothing more. But Aiden was already there, and so was Eli. She'd picked him up on the way, unable to lie to herself about her real reasons for coming. "I brought you something," Mara said, suddenly shy. Aiden took the stack of sheet music with reverence, his pale fingers trembling slightly. "You bought these?" "For me. The piano's just sitting here." Seemed wrong not to use it properly.
He didn't speak.
Instead, he sat down at the bench and spread out the pieces, studying them. After a moment, he selected one, a simple piece by Eric Satie, melancholy and beautiful. His fingers found the keys. What emerged was magic. Not supernatural magic, human magic. The kind that happens when skill meets emotion, when muscle memory from centuries ago awakens and transforms notes into feeling. Eli sat cross-legged on the floor, his eyes wide. Mara leaned against the wall, her throat tight. The music filled the abandoned room, spilled into the hallway, floated up to the rafters. It was sad and hopeful at once, like remembering something beautiful you'd lost and finding it again in an unexpected place. When the last note faded, Aiden turned to face them. "Your son," he said, his voice clear and strong and completely human, "reminds me of sunlight." The words hung in the air, a confession, a revelation. "I haven't seen real sunlight in 300 years, Aiden continued. "It would destroy me now."
But Eli,
When he laughs, when he draws, when he just exists without fear or judgment, he smiled, and it transformed his face. "I remember what it felt like. To be warm." Mara's eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. Eli stood up and walked to Aiden, then did something that made Mara's heart stop. He hugged him, just wrapped his small arms around the vampire prince and squeezed tight. Aiden froze, shocked. Then, slowly, carefully, he hugged back. In his mirror realm, the vampire king watched this moment, and a single tear traced down his ancient face. "My son," he whispered, "you're remembering how to live." The familiar materialized beside him, smoke solidifying into a kneeling form. "The woman," it reported. "She gave her food money for his music." The king nodded slowly. "Then we'll ensure her pantry is full. Anonymously. She's given my son something no gold could buy." "My lord." "Hope," the king said simply. "She's given him hope." The Academy's autumn festival arrived with fog and amberlight. Paper lanterns hung from every tree, glowing like captured fireflies. Students and faculty crowded the courtyard, laughing, eating roasted chestnuts, dancing to music from a string quartet. It was the one night Ravenhall Academy remembered it was supposed to be magical, not just prestigious. Mara had volunteered to work cleanup afterward, double pay, and Eli loved watching the festivities before the boring part began. She'd packed them dinner and claimed a bench near the fountain where they could see everything. "Look, Mom. Fire dancers." Eli bounced excitedly, pointing at performers twirling flames in intricate patterns. Mara smiled, but her mind was elsewhere. She hadn't seen Aiden in 2 days. He'd mentioned something about the festival, how the lights might be too much, too exposing, how he'd have to stay hidden. But she caught herself looking for silver hair in the crowd anyway. "Missing someone?" a smooth voice said behind her. Mara turned. A woman stood there, tall, elegant, with eyes so dark they looked black. She wore an expensive coat and an expression that gave nothing away.
"I'm sorry,"
Mara said carefully.
"The boy."
"Aiden," the woman's smile didn't reach those eyes. "He speaks of you. And your son." Every instinct screamed danger. Mara shifted, putting herself between the woman and Eli. "Who are you?" "Nadira. An old family friend." The woman glanced at Eli, who was mercifully distracted by the fire dancers. The king wanted me to ensure you're enjoying the festival, that you feel safe. The king, Aiden's father, Nadira's expression softened almost imperceptibly. He's grateful for what you've done. What you continue to do. She produced an envelope from her coat. A token of appreciation. Mara didn't take it. I don't want money. It's not money. It's an invitation. Nadira set it on the bench between them. For when you're ready to understand what you've become part of. Before Mara could respond, Nadira melted into the crowd. There one moment, gone the next. Mara stared at the envelope, her hands shaking. She should throw it away. Should take Eli and leave and never come back to this place with its impossible boys and their terrifying fathers. But she picked it up, slid it into her jacket pocket. Mom, can I get a lantern? Eli asked, turning back to her. They're giving them out for free. Sure, baby. Go ahead. She watched him run toward the lantern booth, his joy so pure it hurt. When had she last felt that light? That unburdened? A flash of silver caught her eye. Aiden stood at the edge of the courtyard, half hidden by the old oak tree's shadows. He wore different clothes, modern ones, probably borrowed or stolen, and he looked achingly young. Just a teenage boy watching a party he couldn't join. Their eyes met across the crowd. Mara made a decision. She walked over, dodging festival goers, until she stood beside him in the shadows. You came. I wanted to see it. Human joy. I'd forgotten. He gestured at the lanterns, the music, the laughter. I'd forgotten there was so much light in the world. You could join. No one would. They'd know. Something would give me away. Aiden's smile was sad. I'm getting better, but I'm not passing yet. My heart beats wrong. My temperature. The way I move. Then we'll bring the festival to you, Mara turned.
Ellie.
Her son looked up from the lantern booth, saw her waving, and came running. In his hands, he carried a paper lantern glowing soft orange. Eli, give Aiden the lantern. What? But I just got. Eli saw Aiden and understood immediately. Without hesitation, he held out the lantern.
Here.
You should have it. Aiden stared at the simple gift, backlit by its small candle. His hand trembled as he took it. It's just paper and wire, Eli said. But it's pretty, right? And it means you're part of the festival too. Even if you're over here. Something cracked in Aiden's careful composure. He knelt down to Eli's level, the lantern between them, and when he spoke, his voice was thick with emotion. Thank you. I'll keep this. Forever. That's a really long time for you, isn't it? Eli said, with the blunt wisdom of children. Aiden laughed, that beautiful, rusty sound that was getting smoother.
Yes.
A very long time. Music swelled from the courtyard. Someone had started a waltz. Couples spun under the lantern light, their shadows dancing on the cobblestones. I wish I could dance with both of you, Aiden said softly. Out there. Like normal people. Mara felt her heart break and mend at once. Someday. When you're ready. When the seal is fully broken. You still believe I can be normal? I don't think you were ever supposed to be normal, Mara said. But you can be happy. That's better. In his realm, the vampire king watched the three of them, woman, boy, and his son, standing together in the shadows while light danced around them. And he felt something he hadn't felt in centuries.
Joy. Pure, uncomplicated joy.
His son had found them, his family, the ones who would teach him that darkness doesn't mean emptiness, that silence can end, that even the immortal can learn to live again. Soon, the king whispered to the mirror. Soon, I'll meet them properly, and thank them for the miracle they've given me. It happened on a Tuesday, 3 hours past midnight. Mara was alone. Eli was at his grandmother's for the week, giving her a rare chance to work extra shifts without guilt. She'd just finished the library when she felt it. A presence. Heavy and ancient, like the air before a storm. The old chapel doors stood open though she'd locked them an hour ago. Inside, Candles burned that hadn't been lit before, casting dancing shadows on stone walls. And at the altar, standing with his back to her, was a man. Not Aiden. Someone else. Taller. Broader. Wearing clothes that seemed woven from night itself, a long coat that moved like liquid shadow, boots that made no sound on stone. Mara's hand found her phone, but before she could dial, the man spoke. Please don't. His voice was silk over steel, beautiful and terrible at once. I mean you no harm, Marachan. Quite the opposite. He turned. The resemblance to Aiden was striking, the same pale skin, the same aristocratic features. But where Aiden looked young and uncertain, this man radiated power. Authority. His eyes glowed brighter, crimson like fresh blood, and when he smiled, she saw fangs. I am Aiden's father, he said simply. You may call me Alaric, if it eases your fear. Mara's voice came out steadier than she felt. The Vampire King. So, you've figured it out. Good. He moved down the aisle toward her, each step measured and careful, like he was afraid she'd bolt. I've been watching you for weeks. Through mirrors, through shadows, through my son's eyes. I know everything about you. That's not creepy at all, Mara muttered. He laughed, a rich, unexpected sound. I suppose not. But when you've lived as long as I have, privacy becomes flexible. He stopped a respectful distance away. I came to thank you. Thank me? For what you've done. What no magic, no spell, no desperate searching could accomplish. His expression softened, and suddenly he looked less like a monster and more like a tired father. You've given my son his voice back. Mara's fear began to shift. The seal. Aiden said you placed it to protect him. From himself. From others. From a world that would have used him as a weapon. Alaric moved to sit on a pew. The gesture startlingly human. 300 years ago, my son's power was absolute. One word from him could shatter minds, bend wills, make humans worship or destroy themselves. He was 17, just a boy, and terrified of what he could do. So you made him silent. I bound his voice with magic that could only break through genuine compassion. Through a heart that saw his pain before his power, Alaric's eyes found hers. I thought it would take decades. Maybe a century. I never imagined. He paused. A single mother, working nights to support her son, singing a lullaby in an abandoned room. Mara sat down across from him, exhaustion and adrenaline making her bold. Why are you really here? To ask you to continue. And to offer protection. His expression hardened. There are others, vampires who remember what Aiden was, who want that weapon back. They'll come for him. And they'll hurt anyone he cares about to control him. Meaning me. And Eli. Yes, Alaric leaned forward. But they'll find you. Difficult to harm. I've placed guards. Wards. My best familiars watch your apartment, your son's school, every place you go. He smiled slightly. That pantry that mysteriously restocked itself last week? That was me. The car repair that somehow cost half what the mechanic quoted? Also me. Mara's jaw dropped. That was you. Aiden spoke of your sacrifices. How you gave your food money to buy him sheet music. How you work yourself to exhaustion for Eli. Alaric's voice gentled. You give freely. I merely ensure you're not punished for your kindness. Tears burned Mara's eyes. I don't know what to say. Say you'll keep helping him. Keep singing. Keep showing him what it means to be human, to have a family, to feel wanted. Alaric stood. The seal is nearly broken. Soon he'll speak without pain, without effort. But he needs you to guide him through it. Both of you, you and your son.
Ellie, Mara whispered.
He's just a child. Is he safe? He's the safest child in this city. Alaric's eyes blazed. I've blessed him myself. No darkness may touch him. No evil may even conceive of harming him. And when he grows, he'll remember kindness to a monster, and perhaps be kinder himself. He moved toward the door, then paused. Your son asked me something once, in a dream I sent him. He asked why I was sad. Alaric looked back, and his ancient face showed vulnerability. I told him I missed my son. And he said, he misses you too. Mara's throat tightened. Children see clearly, Alaric continued softly. They don't lie. So I have hope that when Aiden is fully himself again, when he can speak and live and feel without fear, he might forgive me for the century of silence.
He already has, Mara said.
He told me you saved him. The vampire king closed his eyes, and for a moment, he looked almost human, almost vulnerable. Thank you, he whispered, for everything, for being exactly who you are. Then he was gone, dissolving into shadow and moonlight. Mara sat alone in the chapel, candles still burning, her mind reeling. Outside, the dawn was coming. 1 week later, everything changed. Mara returned to work on a Wednesday morning, not night morning. The academy had asked her to help with some daytime maintenance, and she'd agreed, curious about what the old building looked like in sunlight. She brought Eli after school. He'd been asking about Aiden constantly, worried they hadn't seen him in days. Maybe he's just busy, Mara had said, but she worried too. The music room door was closed but unlocked. Morning light streamed through the windows. Real light, golden and warm, illuminating every corner that had always been shadows. And there, at the piano, sat Aiden. But different. Transformed. He looked solid now, less translucent. His skin had color, not much, but enough to seem real. His eyes, while still unusual, had dimmed to a soft amber that could almost pass for human under the right circumstances. And he was playing. Not hesitantly, not searching for forgotten notes. Playing with confidence and joy, a melody that sounded like sunrise and new beginnings, like everything hopeful in the world given voice through keys and strings. Aiden, Mara whispered. He stopped, turned, and smiled, a full, genuine, absolutely human smile. Good morning, Mara. His voice rang clear, no rasp, no pain. Just words, simple and beautiful. I've been waiting for you. Eli rushed forward. You sound different. You sound real. I feel real. Aiden stood, moving to kneel before the boy. The seal broke last night.
Completely.
I can speak. I can feel warmth again. He looked at his hands in wonder. I can almost touch daylight. Look. He extended his hand toward a beam of sunlight. His fingers entered the light and didn't burn, didn't smoke. They just existed there, pale but whole. It doesn't hurt anymore, he breathed. Any of it. Mara felt tears slip down her cheeks.
How? You.
Both of you. Aiden stood, facing them. My father said the seal could only break through genuine compassion. But it wasn't just that. You showed me how to be human again. How to laugh, how to hope, how to want more than just existence. He gestured at the piano. I composed this.
For you. And Eli.
To say what I couldn't before. What's it called?
Eli asked.
The Whisper of Dawn, because that's what you gave me. A new beginning. The door opened behind them. Mara turned, expecting a teacher or security guard. Instead, Alaric stood there, dressed more casually now, simple dark clothes, his presence deliberately muted. He looked at his son standing in near daylight, and his expression cracked with emotion. Aiden, he said hoarsely. Father. Aiden's voice was steady, warm. I can speak. I hear you, my son. After 100 years, I hear you. They moved toward each other, Vampire King and Vampire Prince, and embraced like the family they'd always been but couldn't fully express. Alaric's shoulders shook, and Mara realized he was crying.
I'm sorry, Alaric whispered.
For the silence. For the century you lost. You saved me, Aiden said firmly. I understand now. I was dangerous. Uncontrolled. You did what love demanded. He pulled back, meeting his father's eyes. And you led me to them. To the ones who could help me find my way back. Alaric looked at Mara and Eli, gratitude written across his ancient face.
Yes.
I did.
Eli took it on Mara's sleeve.
Can we have breakfast together? All of us? I brought extra sandwiches. The absurdity of it, a child offering sandwiches to vampire royalty, made everyone laugh.
I would love that, Aiden said.
They sat in the music room as morning light grew stronger, sharing Eli's somewhat squashed peanut butter sandwiches. Aiden couldn't eat much. His body still didn't process food normally, but he tried, and the effort made Eli beam. Alaric watched them with ancient eyes that had seen empires rise and fall, wars and wonders beyond counting. But this moment, this simple, human moment, seemed to move him most of all. "I should go," he said eventually. "The daylight, even filtered, isn't kind to me yet." "Yet?" Mara asked. He smiled. "Aiden's transformation gives me hope. Perhaps, with time, I too might remember warmth." He stood, bowing slightly to Mara. "You'll see us again. Aiden will visit if you allow it. And he paused. "I owe you a debt I can never repay." "You already have," Mara said softly. "You let me help. That's enough." After Alaric left, Mara and Eli prepared to go. But Aiden stopped them at the door. "Will you come back? Tomorrow?" His voice held uncertainty, hope, fear. "I don't want this to end." Mara looked at this impossible boy who'd learned to be human again, who'd chosen kindness over power, who'd shown her that magic wasn't always dark. "We'll come back," she promised. "Every day if you want. I want that very much." As they walked to the car, Eli grabbed Mara's hand.
"Mom?
"Is Aiden our friend now?" Mara thought about it, about vampire kings and broken curses, about lullabies that changed fate, about a janitor and her son teaching immortals how to live. "Yes, baby. He's our friend." Above them, standing at a window too high for normal eyes to see, Alaric watched them leave. The sunrise was coming, full and bright, and for the first time in 3 centuries, he didn't retreat from it immediately. He let it touch his face, just for a moment, feeling its warmth through the glass. "They taught us, my son," he murmured, echoing his thoughts from the mirror realm. "That light doesn't burn when it's born of love." Below, Aiden stood in the music room doorway, watching his new family drive away, already counting the hours until tomorrow. For the first time in 100 years, he had something to look forward to. For the first time in 100 years, he was alive. The music he'd composed continued to echo in the empty room, a whisper of dawn, a promise of new beginnings, a reminder that even the darkest silence can be broken by the simplest kindness. And somewhere, in every shadow and mirror, in every quiet corner of the world where impossible things happened, the story was being remembered. The story of how a single mother's lullaby saved a vampire prince. And how, in return, he and his father reminded her that magic was real, and sometimes it chose the kind. The end.